Welcome! I am so thrilled you're joining me for this explainer today. We're going to take a really fascinating look at an animal that, well, it's familiar to pretty much all of us, yet it is absolutely full of surprises. I'm talking about the common parrot. We're going to uncover some incredible contradictions about these birds today, exploring what I like to call the paradox of the parrot.
Okay, let's dive into this. There are over 350 distinct kinds of parrots. Just let that massive scale sink in for a second. 350. We aren't just talking about a handful of colorful variations you might spot at the local pet store. No, we're talking about an incredibly diverse family of birds spread all across the globe.
Now, despite this massive scale and this incredible diversity across hundreds of different kinds, there is actually one unifying trait when it comes to their environment. Every single one of them shares a common preference. They all live in warm places. So no matter which of those 350 kinds you're looking at, their habitat requirement remains remarkably consistent.
Part 1. The illusion of speech. Let's look at imitation versus talking.
Have you ever wondered what a parrot is actually doing when it looks right at you and appears to talk? I mean, it's captivating, right? But the reality is actually quite surprising. We naturally just kind of assume they're talking to communicate with us, but the truth is, they're simply imitating human speech and singing. They have this absolutely brilliant talent for mimicry, but the intent behind those sounds, it's entirely different from our own human conversations.
In fact, the source lays it out perfectly. Let's read this exact quote. "They're not talking to communicate." Think about that for a second. That completely pivots our entire understanding of this famous bird's vocalizations. What feels like a direct, really meaningful conversation to us is actually, well, it's simply a masterful performance of imitation. Part 2. A long, climbing life. Let's move to and see how this builds when we look at their lifespan and movement.
So we know they mimic rather than converse, but the paradoxes certainly don't stop there. Let's look at their physical lifestyle. Knowing they live exclusively in warm climates, let me ask you directly, how long do you think they live? Go ahead, take a mental guess right now. You might think wild birds have relatively short, maybe fleeting lifespans, right? Well, here is the reality. Parrots can live up to 80 years old. 80 years! Think about what an incredibly long life that is for a bird out in the wild. I mean, they're navigating their warm environments, perfecting their imitations, and surviving for 8 whole decades. So, over the course of those 80 long years, how do they actually get around? Well, as birds, most parrots do indeed fly. They obviously possess the capability to take to the skies and soar above their warm environments. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the physical paradox it reveals. While they possess the absolute freedom to take to the skies, they actually spend a massive amount of their time doing something else entirely. They're climbing trees and branches. Over the course of an 80-year life, despite having the ultimate capability of flight, they meticulously climb around the forest canopy using their beaks and claws.
So, what we have here is a bird completely defined by paradoxes. They're highly capable of speaking human words, but they do it entirely without conversation. They have the majestic ability to fly, yet they prefer to spend a huge amount of time just climbing. It really makes you rethink what you assume about the animal kingdom, doesn't it? And it leaves us with this provocative final thought to spark your curiosity. What other animals might just be mimicking us without actually understanding? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope it completely changed the way you look at these incredible birds.